Hey everybody, welcome back to another brand new video. Today, it's going to be a bit different because today we're taking a look at my entire Balisong collection. So let's get started. This thing is getting heavier and heavier by the day. This is my Balisong case, and it's not a Pelican case. I think Pelican cases are a little overused. I can't say anything though because I've never tried one. So yeah, I just don't feel like I need a Pelican case in my opinion because I don't take this outside and I'm not worried about it falling into a 3-foot vat of water or something like that. So I don't really see a purpose of it. Plus, this is a decent size for me and it's got room for my stickers. I was going to go over every single one of my stickers, but I realize that you guys aren't here for that. So let's just open this thing up and show you what I got in here. Alright, so the first thing we got in here that I'm going to talk about right next to my face, that is some of the more functional stuff. We have all my lubricants, and for those of you who are wondering, I use some KPL variety. We have regular KPL and heavy KPL, which is almost out. Between the lubricants, though, we have just Loctite. This is just like kind of the Squid Industries Loctite you get. The other oils I do use are NRB juice variety oils. This is just standard NRB knife juice, which is one I use the most, and then there's the thick variety, which both of those are from NRB Knives. You can probably find it on his website. I'm not too sure if he still sells it anymore because there are just a lot of lubricants out there like right now, and I don't really know which is the best one to get. I've been seeing a lot of people do carbon honey recently. If that's sort of the way to go, definitely put that down in the comments section for sure. So, philosophy for me is if you have good lubricant that you like and you know it works good, then just use it. So first up, we have my first Balisong. This is the one in the video that has like over 1 million views now. This is the one I used in that video, and it's kind of gone to shambles now. The handles slap now. Sorry, I'm just trying to move this close to my face so that you don't have to hear the slapping of the handles too much. So it's like an Archangel and Benchmade clone put together. The Archangel inspired handles. I said that with a quotation because they're just taking copies. And then there's like some kind of Benchmade inspiration from the blade here. It's a pretty shitty clone. It's really tiny for some reason. It's about the same length as a 51 that I can remember. Maybe a 51 is a little bit bigger. So it's not that huge, but I use that in that video. And for those of you wondering, I don't know where you can buy this on Amazon. Because I didn't buy this on Amazon. I actually bought it from a flea market local to my area for $5. So if that helps you, then cool. Next up, we have this thing. A lot of the knives in my collection were some of the ones I don't use are gifts. Let's just say that. This one is just like that. It's a comb Balisong. You can't really see the bristles of the comb. I don't know why they make these. It's just a poor excuse to grab beginners' attention because it's a comb and no one uses these combs. They're poorly made and the bristles are so thin that they can't even like furbish the bristles and make them good enough to use in your hair, because you would basically tear out the hair in your scalp by using this. Yeah, I got this as a gift, so I don't really use it. This other one was my second Balisong. I still have it. I probably should give it back soon because I don't use it. This is my second Balisong, and it was actually given to me by the person who inspired me to get in the hobby. I used this for a little bit, and looking back on it now, I don't know why I use this thing, because it is really it's comically heavy, and it feels like it would hurt you if it slapped you. That's just kind of how heavy it is. So the only trick you can really properly do are like a basic open and a latch drop, which is that. So yeah, I don't really use it. It has a funny little spring latch that I can't take off because it's pinned shut. The next one we have is actually one I got recently as a gift as well. This tiny little thing right here. It's really tiny. Not too sure where they got this from, because it was a gift. I don't really ask people where they got their gifts from. But I kind of lasered engraved it. I don't know if you guys can see that on the blade there, but it's kind of laser engraved and whatnot, and I spent several hours doing that. It was kind of a fun little thing to do. It's kind of like zebra pattern or tiger pattern on that blade. It's pretty neat. I don't really take this out to flip it, obviously, because it's so tiny, but believe it or not, this can do more tricks than the Hom Basilisk-R I just showed you guys. So yeah, it's a live blade, but it's not sharp at all. It has an edge, but it probably couldn't cut paper. So yeah, next up we have, I think, the third Balisong I ever used, and that is my Squid Industries Squiddy. This knife has been dropped, been thrown, and it's still here. I have used this basically never since I got better Balisongs. I've never taken this through TSA, which is apparently something you can do with this knife. I've never done that though, so I didn't want to get it confiscated, because at the time that was one of the only things I had. Next up we have is another plastic Balisong, and that is the Spasm Fingers LCT V3. This knife is pretty cool because it's blue, and it actually is pretty decent for a plastic Balisong. It's definitely handle bias, like some of the previous renditions of his knives. The LCT V2 in particular was the one that I tried first, and this is a big improvement in quality and overall just flipping performance, and I think it's pretty interesting looking for a plastic Balisong. There aren't many out there that look interesting enough like this. I see nowadays that he's trying to make them into aluminum, which is pretty cool, but they're starting to get more and more expensive the day by day goes, and it's kind of leaving the realm of low cost trainer. I don't know if it's going to be the same name, but the LCT in LCT V3 Dragon stands for low cost trainer, by the way. Little no jewel. Next up is actually a knife from one of my sponsors, which is the NDK Arts Peony. This knife is actually, honestly, I'm not just saying this from a sponsor standpoint, but this knife is actually really nice. I said this in my review, but for a plastic Balisong, this is probably one of the most flippable plastic Balisongs you can have. And it has a really interesting like thing you can do with it, which is like bend it all sorts of ways. Like you can bend the handle and stuff to do funny little things like that, and you can basically make a CSGO clone really quick. It's all curved now, and it still functions. Look at that, all bendy and stuff. I think this gimmick is it's just that, it's a gimmick, but it does go back to shape though, and it's especially bendy in hotter places right now, which is why it's really bendy right now, because even though I live in a state where it's constantly raining and cold, it's almost 100 degrees out right now, which is why it's really bendy in my room, even though it's actually nice in here for once. So yeah, really nice knife from a standpoint. In fact, I learned the giraffe on this not too long ago, so yeah, pretty cool knife, not just from a sponsor standpoint, but definitely a really nice knife. Definitely don't sleep on these. Link to the Instagram account will be in my description. The next knife is actually a knife I just most recently reviewed, and that is the Maxace Covenant 2. This is a barrel knife from Maxace and Midnight Cat Studios. It's a titanium sandwich construction carbon fiber inlaid knife from China. There are a lot of stigmas about knives from China. Mainly, a lot of people think of the CCCs and clones from China, but there are good companies out in China. Another one coming up soon, and this one is definitely a good one. Maxace and Midnight Cat Studios did a lot of cool things. They make very well priced knives like the Serpent Striker, the Banshee. I think that one's still decent secondhand value. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen one in a while, but this one's actually decent price for the materials we're getting. Carbon fiber, 6AL 4V, titanium, and nice ceramic thrust bearings. So glad it's in my collection so I can do that, and it doesn't flip too bad when you cycle through these knives. So next up we have another Chinese knife from China, and that is the Nemales Morse. I still have this, and honestly it's not a bad trainer. I think that's what I said in my review. It was kind of a blur, to be honest, but this knife is a pretty decent trainer for the price point. I think these are going for $75 right at this point. He told me they were $55, but I checked the Amazon listing and They're still $75, so I'm not too sure how true that is. But this one's in red. I know there's a couple of different colors. These have bushings, washers, and channel aluminum handles. They're pretty nice, and so I have to be honest. If someone came to my house and wanted to learn on one of these, I wouldn't be too mad, because these are actually a pretty decent price point knife if you're wanting to start balisong flipping, which is pretty neat for a pretty good price. Next up, we have some higher budget knives, even though that one was just $75 and the Covenant was like $350. We're moving on to more expensive stuff, and that first one, let's just do somewhat budget order. Next up, we have Hom Carbon Fiber Basilisk-R. This is the orange carbon fiber one. This one has a stonewash on it. I'm kind of debating sending this to a modder to get this stonewash like removed or done better, because it basically looks like a stonewash. It is an acid wash, but it's like light to a point where it doesn't look like that. It just looks like a stonewash. I recently got a bunch of new hardware for this, new pivot screws and new body screws, because the old hardware that I got this with was just trash. I wanted to get rid of it immediately, even though I couldn't, because I just ordered it and it would take several weeks to get here. Just got here like 2 days ago, and it flips so much better now. It's amazing what a change of hardware can do to your knife. So yeah, I want to find new screws for the spacer screws, because these spacer screws, they're not in there too tight, because I have new scales coming for this. I don't like the color orange. I'm just going to say that to you guys right now. I don't like the color orange, and these scales, even though they're nice and grippy, I don't like the color orange. Even though they're orange and black, it's still this. I don't like the color orange. So I got some really nice scales coming in, and I'll definitely wait to review this knife once I get those, because they are made out of some beautiful material. So yeah, they better be good, because I paid $140 for them. So yeah, just a spoiler alert on how much they cost. But this knife flips pretty good. I won't say anything too much about it because I haven't reviewed it yet, and I will definitely review this knife because I have some things to say about it. But until I get my scales, which probably won't be in a few more weeks, I'm gonna wait until I get my thoughts. Next up, we have the Fellowship Blades Medusa. I'm kind of contemplating selling this, because right now they're at a stable point where you can sell these for $500 to $600 range, and that's not retail value, but it is a really nice knife, and I mean, the name is cool. It's called the Medusa. So yeah, it's a really interesting flipper, and I love how this thing looks. I think it looks fantastic. So cool. I love this blade shape. But the reason I'm contemplating selling it is because I've been flipping another knife in my collection a lot more, which is the next one. The one reason I've been flipping that knife more is because I like the balance a lot more. It reminds me a lot more of old school knives, which is what the next knife is actually based on. It's actually based on old school knife. This knife is really nice, built very well. I think what I want to do is maybe try a V2 version. I'm not too sure though, because I actually like the handles of the V1 more. I like the V2 style blade, even though it's not really changed that much. But that's the Fellowship Blades Medusa. Anyways, let's move on to the last knife of this collection. A lot shorter. I thought this knife would... oh my god, I can't talk. I thought this video would be a lot longer, but it's not going to be very long, because I'm not going to say too much about this next knife either, because I haven't reviewed this, and I do want to review it as well. And that is another knife from Hom, and that is the Hom Tempest. This is a new Tempest, not the old Tempest. They're pretty nice. I'm just going to say that right now. They're pretty nice knives. And spoiler alert, I think... actually, no. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for the review. New spacers that are coming will remove the gap where the latch was, so there won't... it'll be basically latchless. And I believe they have jimping now for things like ladders. But I like the balance of this knife a lot. It reminds me a lot of old school knives. I'm not going to talk too much about this knife because I definitely want to review this knife. And by the way, I'm not going to review anything for the next few weeks because I'm going to be on vacation, and I like to have a nice vacation. video free for a little bit. So that's my collection of knives. I hope you guys enjoyed this somewhat longer video. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.